Welcome to our
Hello.
first and ever live playtest of Omens Rising. We are so glad to have you here with us um, as we kind of lend our voices and our stories to help raise money for Doctors Without Borders. The work they do helps so many people worldwide. If you are in a position to give, please consider giving today. As you can find the link below, you'll also notice at the bottom of the screen that CouchCon's goal is $2,500 for the weekend. And we are inching closer and closer to $1,000 with every donation. If you can help us get even one step closer today, we would greatly appreciate that. Another goal for us here at CouchCon is to uplift and encourage the many creators whose cons have been canceled, putting them in various financial difficulties or awkward positions at least. Please visit the virtual vendor hall that Nightbot regularly posts in Twitch chat. If you need to scratch your gaming accessories itch, check out all of the amazing creators there, like Eris Custom Designs, Ice Cream Dice, Tabletop Loot, and so many more. But before we jump in, I want to introduce 4 of my collaborators here with me, all of which are doing wonderful work to help bring this game to all of you. I see.
Is mine working?
I'm going to start to my left here, and that is going to be Ajay.
Hi, my name is Ajay Pandey. I use he, him pronouns. I am a serial game master, self-proclaimed patron saint of play-by-post games, and moonlighting game designer. I will be playing Vikas, the Eternal Mentor.
That was so succinct. I don't know what to do now.
So south of right below Ajay, we have Anino.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Anino. I use he, him pronouns, and today I am playing Lawin, who is the mysterious stranger.
And then across the screen from Anino, we have John.
Yeah. So hi, I'm John. You can see all the tweet links down in the below thing. I'm playing Isamani, the fucking moron.
Who we all love and adore. And above John is the one, the only Leona.
Hello, my name is Leona. You can find me on Twitter at the Leona Maple, and today I am playing Robin, our possibly frazzled airship captain.
Chosen one.
Shut up.
There's nothing possibly about it. It's pretty frazzled.
No, it's
mostly
fine.
Vikas's fault.
Also Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. And last is me. My name is Chris Geary. You can find me on Twitter at Chris Geary, and I am going to be the Oracle that leads these characters through bits and pieces of their story today for you. And we pick up their story today in a treetop city called Hybo, just south of the bluff herd of Inathos. It's one of the 7 continents, and in the northeast corner of this continent is a series of bluffs that just dot across the landscape like a large herd moving their way toward the sea. And just below them runs one of the many star forests that dot the landscape of the world. And in Hybo, we have 4 people, led by the frazzled one, Captain Robin.
Stop.
What particular type of fruit brought you to this particular star forest, as you are a purveyor of produce?
Yes. You said it's a
Forgot
star
that was your
forest?
job.
Yes.
I legitimately forgot that. was your
She's
job.
got all this shit going on, and then fruit seller. Just that's Robin.
It's the best part, right? I mean, if anybody's ship is not going to get scurvy, it's yours.
There you go. See? Lots of citrus to go around. Did you say it's a star forest?
I did.
Okay. I feel like it's a fruit that she's never come across before. So she doesn't entirely know what it looks like, but she knows that she's going to find it here. Someone's probably described it to her and said it was delicious and tasted like nothing else, and it's probably I want to say it's kind of a rounded, kind of like a large rounded fruit, kind of like an apple, but also
Mhm.
kind of shaped more like a teardrop kind of a shape.
Mm.
And it's covered with the very hard shell, and like it's got little spines around it, kind of protecting this very soft, sweet, very delicate inner fruit inside of it. And so she's come looking for this beautiful ambrosial fruit that she's never come across before.
Excellent.
For some reason, I'm
So
imagining it.
locally, they
ahead.
call it the star tier pear, but it has many names across the world and across different cultures.
In
I
the
love
culture
it.
Of only Sam, it's the crunchy, spiny one.
It's of course it's a representation of one's vulnerability.
Oh,
It is a
Mhm.
process of healing.
It's a fruit.
Nothing is as it is on the surface. Everything has a broader meaning, a deeper meaning. Everything.
Everything has surfaces. What's your point?
You speak to ships, of course. Everything else has the same depth.
That doesn't make any sense.
I
Very frazzled.
just
our
does
fault.
not know what to say. And then she has had these two just talking back and forth like this for a very long trip.
I am frankly surprised that the child does not know what I'm talking about, for he, of all people, should know that surface impressions are not always the case. By the way, what is the name of this ship?
What did we decide on? Oh, we didn't decide.
We didn't decide. We don't.
Oh,
Sorry.
no, that's because
nobody
this is
knows what it is.
This is a different
Except-
ship than the
oh,
one we
different
talked
ship.
about
Oh.
at
Oh.
session 0.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Well, then I have no.
Is it my ship or?
This is the ship you're currently using.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So we'll say it's on loan to you from the person that hired you to come and bring them star tier pairs.
Yeah, perfect.
It is known as the West Wind frigate. Sam, however, has a completely different name that he's been muttering as he's been walking around the ship talking
Yep.
to it.
I will come up with that in a minute.
Celise, we already came up with that earlier.
Oh, right, we did. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh God, what day is it? Speaking of frazzle, it's just
We have
me.
transcended days.
Now that definitely doesn't make any sense. Yeah, no, Celise. Yeah. I forgot we decided that. Oh my God. I'm gonna be a mess this game, y'all.
No worries.
So as I was saying, on the surface, this ship is called the West Wind Frigate. But if you look deeper, it's a completely different story. Same as the star tier fruit, same as the heart of someone who has been hurt.
I was with you for the fruit, but it's a goddamn boat.
Yeah. And
Is it now, Sam?
I mean, her name is Celise. Yeah, it's a boat. Those aren't mutually exclusive.
But it's named the West Wind Frigate. What? Never mind.
So
Anino
while
is the
this
audience
conversation
stand-in
is
currently.
happening, I'm assuming in the market around these crates of star tier fruit, what is Lawin doing? While the others are pontificating about the true meaning of layers and shells and parfaits or onions.
So I'm sorry. So we're in a market right now. Is that where we're located?
They're pontificating about fruit, so I'm assuming they're gazing upon it. That's where we're going with.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm going to get really confused really fast.
All right. So Lawin is actually just passing through the market. He had just arrived in this as of yet named port that
High
we were
bow.
discussing. High bow? Okay.
Yeah, it's a treetop city. So all
Treetop city.
airships are the ones that dock here.
Okay. So he had just landed from another ship, having found passage, and is now just wandering through the market, looking for his next ride out of town. But for the moment, he is just trying to get his bearings and figure out where he needs to go next.
Well, as Lawin is wandering through this market, you overhear three particularly, I don't know, jovial people who are well, one of them is pontificating very clearly about the depth of fruit. Another is trying to wrap their head around how fruit have anything to do with the value of ships. And the third seems to be the one who's in control but has somehow lost control and is looking at the other two like, what are you even talking about? We're here to buy fruit. The merchant who the accord is being struck with is just watching and smiling like this is the best entertainment they've seen in probably weeks, if not months.
So he is overhearing the conversation, and he goes to investigate the fruit. He had never seen a fruit like this before, so he'll have to bounce it in his hand a little bit, maybe pick up another one, and then another one, and then just juggle them for a bit to get how they feel in his hands. But he won't say anything. He's just listening in on this remarkable one-way conversation.
Well, as you're kind of like juggling and inspecting the fruit to get a feel for them, you notice that the spiny texture is not one that is necessarily harmful to the hand. Like it's not like a porcupine quill. It's more of something that might hurt if you tried to bite into it without cutting through the leathery shell of the fruit first. Think kind of more like the rind of an orange or citrus fruit, except it has these protrusions that come out to, well, not a thorn, but more of a nub, making it awkward to kind of eat by itself or to bite into. It has a kind of light feel for its size, but when you kind of give it a squeeze, you notice that there is some really good density to it. So there's this kind of strange like dichotomy there. You would think that it was maybe softer if it was this light, or maybe a little heavier, feeling how dense it is.
So then aside, he's going to put down two of the pieces, and I guess he's just going to somehow decide that one of the pieces of fruit happens to be the right size, texture to be really edible and give him a taste of what it feels like. What the I'm sorry, what was the name of this again?
Star-tiered pear.
Star-tiered pear. To get a pretty good idea of the way the fruit should taste in optimal condition. And so he's just going to tap the merchant on the shoulder and says, "Oh, sorry to interrupt you. How much for one of these?"
1 crown.
So, Lawan doesn't have a whole lot of money, but he can certainly afford a piece of fruit,
Mm-hmm.
and he will proffer the currency requested and thank the merchant, all the while peeling out a fairly sizable knife dagger
Mm-hmm.
and begin cutting it open carefully in his hand.
Does this knife look like the kind of thing that has been used in multiple applications before?
Yes, it is. There are a couple of nicks on the back of the blade, probably because he used it as a makeshift hammer of some sort. But it's sizable. It's kind of almost Bowie knife-esque in its length and styling, so it does look fairly intimidating. But he happens to use it with a fair bit of dexterity.
How much would an older man know about highbow?
Vicus, you in particular would know that Highbow has been a trade port for, for centuries, long before the Great Decimation and the rise of the Aether Storms. Rumors had it that during that time of tumult, that the city of Highbow was utterly just ravaged and destroyed, being this close to the coast, as well as being so high in the air that a number of aether cyclones in particular had just ripped through the continent. But one thing that Vicus knows that many others forget is that the star forests have a much longer history in this world, ones that date back to the dawning of its birth, and that none of the star forests that Vicus has seen since the world has calmed and travel has become common again have ever been touched by any aether storm. So why would Highbow have been destroyed? But this is the first time that Vicus has ever been here.
That is true. Yes, Highbow is this city in particular is an absolute testament to the sheer strength of humanity, the refusal to give up. This entire city has existed for centuries, but in the past coming of ethereal storms, it was demolished. But the beauty of humanity is that immediately afterwards, in fact, the entire city was rebuilt from the ground up. And that is the greatest strength, especially if you are to become a leader. The refusal to give up and the will to inspire those around you to never give up.
Beautiful words. Did you have any intent for their purpose? Or are they simply another reminder to dear Captain that she needs to start listening more than she has been?
Well, I'm trying to get her to think a little bit more about being a leader and what that entails.
So it is for her purpose.
It is for her purpose. Although, Sam might also get something out of this too.
Sam, who has been looking at airships docked, leans back over his shoulder and tilts his head over and says, and sort of in Leona's and vaguely in Eno's direction, if you give him 5 minutes, he'll relate it to the pair, and then leans back over and starts again.
Robin kind of chuckles at that.
Sam sips liquids from mugs in the same way that small children who don't understand how to sip things is. It would it's just like a kind of thing that just punctuates every statement at the end of it.
So So Lawan is actually digging into the fruit now, cutting decent slices out of it. And, as an aside, overhearing the conversation, he's just going to say, well, as I'm eating and reflecting on this fruit, I just happened to come to the conclusion that you like to really listen to yourself talk a fair bit.
Why, yes, I do.
You find any leadership in the pair?
So how does the pear actually taste?
Does the pear taste like leadership, Chris?
It tastes like human resilience.
It does actually. Robin's description was probably the most apt. It tastes like ambrosia. It is gentle. It is just sweet enough. It has enough form and density that it chews nicely, but doesn't stick to the teeth or get caught between them. It's refreshing, kind of like a pear would be with the amount of like water or juice in it. Yet it isn't heavy.
It has the kind of taste that I believe you should just learn to appreciate instead of trying to find a deeper meaning, because your own life lacks any sort of real meaning.
Robin just bursts out laughing and she's like, I like this guy. What's your name?
You can call me Lawin.
Lawin, it's nice to meet you. I'm Robin. Do you mind? I'm awfully curious how it tastes.
And so Lawin will graciously slice a piece of the fruit. But he won't actually touch it with his fingers because, that would just be rude. But he will proffer the slice in the half shell of the husk.
Perfect. Thank you. And she'll eat it and you'll see her eyes closed and she'll be like, oh, this is magnificent. Oh, I can see why I'm purchasing so many of these. Oh, this is amazing.
And Ismai sort of turns to look at me and goes, maybe there was human resilience in there, and then keeps looking out again over the thing. As far as Sam's concerned, it's a fruit. Like y'all are acting like it's the next slice of God, and it's just like it's a okay.
It's a
My
really
child,
good fruit.
everything is a slice of God.
That explains a lot, actually.
And on that note, I didn't say it before. I did notice just shortly ago that somebody donated recently, and I want to thank them. Thank you for donating to Doctors Without Borders. Again, please, if any of you do have any ability to do so, please consider doing so, as we are here at CouchCon trying to help those who help others across the globe. Now, back to our exchange in the market, and the merchant smiles and nods and is trying to politely wait until time to be able to complete this transaction, but is leaning towards realizing this might go on forever if they don't interject, and so they lean in and say, excuse me, Captain, but do you have the funds to purchase the quantity you asked for? Or should I look at other shippers to take this lot?
Oh no, absolutely. I have all of the money you need right here. And she will put a hand in one of the pockets of her outfit. I imagine she's wearing something that's somewhat flowy, like a baggy pants kind of a situation with a top, like a blouse.
Mhm.
And she'll put her hand in her pocket and she'll pull out a small bag that's full of the currency of the place where she is,
Mhm.
and she will hold it out and she will say, "I'll take the lot."
The merchant smiles and says, good. Do you need someone to load it, or do you have enough hands? As he kind of turns and looks, and there's about I would say 36 crates, which was the number requested by the person who contracted you.
I could use some help, please.
Fair enough. And I will get together some people that I know and have them take it to your ship. Feel free to continue your business here in Highbow, and if you have any other requirements, maybe I can find that as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Please deliver it all to the West Wind frigate, and if I need anything else, I will come and find you.
Excellent, excellent. As that transaction concludes, earlier Lawan, or not Lawan, Sam had kind of gazed across the other airships that were nearby. I mean, they obviously don't want to be far from where most of the trade is, and vice versa. Were there any particular things that Sam was looking for about them, or just in general?
I think Sam was mostly just killing time
Okay.
until they get back on the West Wind, and mostly finding things to look at that weren't Vikas, because Vikas is annoying.
Mhm.
So, although I think, I think no, they're just sort of glassy-eyed out across the space.
Welcome, Raiders.
Hey!
Okay, in that case, what rank is your spiritual?
Ooh, that's a good question. Where is my character sheet? I think it's 4, I believe.
Excellent.
But I will continue to double check while we do this thing.
Mm-hmm. So while that's happening, what do the rest of you? What do the rest of you do now that the transaction is concluded?
I am going to basically be at the place where I can just help carry stuff in. Because Vikas knows when this is not his scene. Shocking.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I think Robin is excited to explore the town. It's incredibly beautiful here, and she's never been here, and so her sense of adventure kind of takes over her now that her job is done, and she's like, I really want to look around. Where should we go first?
We aren't just leaving.
Back. Come on, it's so cool here. Why would you want to just leave? We can check out the place a little bit.
Make
No?
your choice. I will. I suspect this is your choice to make.
Well, okay, then I'm making a choice. We are going on an adventure. Hey, Lowen, are you sticking around?
I suppose. Do I need to be heavily involved in conversations about absolutely nothing?
Nah, you seem reasonable like me, so we can talk about reasonable things. But yeah, if you want to come and check out this place with us, you're more than welcome to join us. You seem cool.
Thank you. I appreciate the ability to ignore an existential conversation. And he'll just fall in line on our left, and just keeping an eye out over his shoulder to ensure that he doesn't recognize anyone around here.
Would you like to apply any of your aptitudes?
Question. Out of question character for the GM real quick. Is this post or pre-bar fight incident?
That would be post, because that was in the past.
Okay, so like I don't know if I don't know if Lawan necessarily recognizes like Robin or Vikas, but Lawan probably definitely recognizes Sam. Now that I think about it.
Okay, that's interesting. What would Lawan recognize Sam from?
Remember that bar fight that you were starting over a card game?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sam was the one that happened to point out that the jack didn't belong, because the jack was, as if I remember the words correctly, was confused as to how it got there.
Yep. Yep.
It's a phrase that most people wouldn't forget because it sounds so absurd.
But also correct.
No, I mean, cards just fall onto places on the table that they, for whatever reason, like they just didn't get shuffled correctly, or they just got messed up in a pile.
If that was the thing you said in defense, he's like, no, it just doesn't belong there at all, and then kept going. So, you might not remember his name, but you probably remember that specific interaction.
This mousy kid in a bar who had no business being in a bar.
The colloquial, this little shit right here.
So Lawan's going to pause, and I guess the aptitude that he was going to use is poised, as he's looking around and continuing to assess his environment, because this is
Excellent.
such. So that's what he's going to use, and then he's going to look at Sam and says, "Huh. No, it couldn't be." But there is a sort of glance of like, "I'm watching you."
Sam replies in the kind of same way as Sokka in The Last Airbender, just like, and then sort of like wanders in to fall slightly on the other side of Robin, and then reaches into like the back pocket of the satchel on their back, pulls out a little bottle, pops off the cork, and becomes lost in something that sort of buzzes out, sort of starts circling his head, and is following Robin in a bit of a zigzag, but is kind of vaguely in the same area.
Excellent.
What would I pull if I wanted to see if I could draw the connection?
Hold that thought for a second. I would like to walk through and finish Lawin's action by giving an example of how we use the mechanics to augment that action. So poised is one of the aptitudes that Lawin has. Poised is a way to kind of keep grounded and calm in otherwise situations. And if I am interpreting correctly, Lawin is trying to assess the situation and look to see if there's any form of, I guess, dangers of sorts related to the character's past. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So in the hand that you have been dealt, you have 4 cards currently. I would like, for you to look at those 4 and tell me, I'm guessing here we're going to be leaning towards kind of observation. So some sort of mental check. So spades is the suit of a mental ability, unless you have a different way you'd like to kind of perceive that. Feel free to shift to a different suit. But if it is just kind of like that perception kind of concept, feel free, or look at the cards you have and augment your poised with one of the cards that is appropriate.
Okay. Excuse me. So do I just draw the card into the square here?
Yep, just drop it right into the square.
So I am going to use the 4 of hearts.
Okay. So are you shifting your perception to more like an emotional sense of what's going on, looking for like a danger sense?
Yeah, because one of his other aptitudes is confident.
Ah, excellent.
And so I'm playing the heart because that suit falls in line with that aptitude.
Okay. Well, okay. In this case, all of them apply. Once we get to gameplay, that alignment from character creation is unnecessary. We don't need that. We don't need to worry about that. Okay. You can play any of the suits with any of the aptitudes. So in this case, the interpretation is that it's more like that danger sense, that feeling that you get if you're being watched, something that is an emotional connection to your surroundings. So, what is your base rating for poise?
That would be 9.
It's a 3, so 9. So we have a 9 plus 4, that's a 13. As you scan around, you our target number for this, for looking for your standard, what you would normally expect is a 10, and you have exceeded that by 3. It is what we call an incomplete success. It's not flawless, but it's definitely a success. And you have assessed the situation. Everything seems to look as it should be for a strange place. So there are obviously unknowns and potential dangers, places where maybe those who might be following you or might be able to recognize you could be hiding and just not within view. There's no unease in kind of your being about it. Everything seems to be in place. The birds are still singing. Everyone still seems to be interacting as they would in a market. There's nothing to trigger something that would be unsettling to you.
That's fair. So, yeah. So as Lowen is watching Sam walk on the other side, seemingly trailing this insect that he had let out, and he'll just ask Robin, "So, is this all your crew?"
I guess so. Well, you see, I give people passage, and so my two companions here are seeking passage on my ship, and I travel from place to place, wherever my heart takes me, I suppose, and I trade in fruits as I go. So they're with me on the ship for now until they decide to get off. Although, considering these two, I don't know when that will ever happen.
One thing to wrap up that mechanical exchange, I love the narrative exchange. And Nino, I need you to look at the 3 cards that you have remaining and discard the one that you do not want to keep. So keep 2, discard 1. And at the next exchange, you'll draw 2, putting your hand up to 4, and you'll choose again, discard down to 2, and repeat, kind of thing. Thank you. And then
that's how you play this game.
And what we do is we take those 2 cards off the table once the interaction, or the endeavor as we call it, has completed, and then we shuffle them back into the deck. So that way, the next time someone draws, there's the opportunity for them to return. So, as you are moving along, Vicus, you had a question that I had to interrupt.
I want to see if I can pull together what the connection might be between these two strangers who seem to have reacted to each other in a way that suggests knowing. I want to see if I can pull a little bit of unseen information.
Okay. So which aptitude are you wanting to apply? And with that unseen, I'm assuming that you're leaning on clubs.
I have
Because that is usually the suit of the unseen.
Yeah, I have a clubs in my hand.
So, but you can also draw 2 other cards. You'll draw up to 4 and choose from those 4. So go ahead and draw 2 cards to add to your hand to give you more options.
Okay.
And then tell me what aptitude you'd like to apply, and then play the card to add to your base rating. Remember, aces are 14, not 1.
Do they need to be aptitudes that are listed from my original spread, or can they be anything?
They can be they can be any aptitude you choose. Remember, the ones that you didn't choose for your character generation are still at rank 2. The ones you did choose bumped up to rank 3.
Okay.
So they can be any of them.
All right. In that case, let me check my sheet again. I think I will go actually for I'm gonna go for empath.
Okay. And what is your rank of empath?
Empath, I believe, is 3.
Excellent. So you've got a base rating of 9. You have played a 3 of hearts, and it looks like you're looking for that unseen, like emotional connection between them. There's a little bit of awkwardness there. It seems to be somewhat brief, though. So I'm guessing. I mean, you can interpret it how you want, but the briefness of it means to most people that it was not a big or long interaction. And I see we have another donation to Doctors Without Borders. Thank you so much, whoever did that. Thank you. We are another step closer to that first 1,000 of our 2,500 goal for the weekend. We appreciate your ability to give and your donation so very much. That connection that you're feeling, Vicus, is one that is, like I said, an awkward exchange, but a brief one. It's not deep. It's probably not long lasting, but it left an impression of some sort.
Ah, yes. Meeting strangers the second time.
And please discard the one of the 3 remaining that you do not wish to keep.
And where should I chuck it? Just right click?
Yeah, you can just, I think you can right click and discard, possibly. Or you can just drop it on the table anywhere. Either is fine.
There we go.
That'll work. And I will recall those and shuffle them back in.
To Lawin, he says, ah, yes. Meeting a stranger for the second time. Stranger things happen.
I don't know if you would just call it strangers passing. I think it was more along the lines of fifth business.
You can call it what you like.
All of you was cheating.
Would you all stop it? Let's just enjoy this place.
So where to, Captain?
Let's see. What else is here, Oracle?
The fair city of Highbow, as it sits across the tops of the Star Forest, it has most of your normal amenities of any sort of port city. You have a number of places to eat or drink. It has a number of inns, as it does get travelers. It has a variety of the people who live here. There is a town square where you can hear music coming from in the distance, and it sprawls out for quite a ways as you kind of gaze around. A series of bridges that have been very carefully tied with ropes and twine of different types of material. Much seem to be things that have come from the Star Forest themselves. Some are actually not even ropes, they're vines that seem to still be alive and vibrant as they are leafing or blooming this time of year.
Robin will kind of just look around in amazement. She's rapidly falling in love with this place. And I think she'll say, let's go to the square. I think I hear music. And she'll start leading the way, basically.
Vicos will follow. Not saying a word.
Sam pulls out a pair of earplugs.
As the group makes their way to the town square, you'll find a number of musicians playing lively music, entertaining the crowds. It seems to be some sort of festival based on the way all of the surrounding buildings of the square have been decorated. The theme is one that is definitely celestial in nature. There are paintings that have been done in some form of as you kind of look at it, it's more of a residue than a paint on the sides of the buildings that mark out different constellations in the night sky. There's a large, what you might call paper mache pair of moons that are rotating along what or over what would be a statue of a person standing in the center of the square with their hands raised to the skies and their head facing upwards as though they are calling forth to something beyond this world.
Would I recognize the likeness of the statue?
What sort of connection might you have to that? What would Vicus be relying on from their past, their experiences, what they've studied or read, the places that they've been?
Vikas knows a lot about great heroes of legend. He's a bit of a scholar on that topic.
Excellent. So, trying to make those connections. Do me a favor, and let's go ahead and actually, unless you have a different way you'd like to try and pull that information. Being a scholar, I'm guessing this would be inquisitive. You can't actually see the statue's face, lest you could get above it to see as its head is tilted directly upward. But the position, the story or something of this sort of place and time and all of that might be able to connect the dots. So some sort of aptitude that would connect them together. My
Alright.
instinct is inquisitive, but if you have something else, let me know.
I'll draw two and see what comes up. Oh, yes. Inquisitive. I do not have an aptitude in this, but
Well, you would have the base rank of 2 in inquisitive. Everybody, you have all of them. You just don't have any additional bonuses. So that's a base of 6 plus the king, which makes it a 19. Yes, you do recognize this. 19 breaches the difficulty rate or the target number of what would be a difficult task, a target number of 18.
Ooh.
And it reminds you of a once were legend of someone they once called the Star Caller. It was a avatar of one of the once were deities who came to Earth, or not to Earth, sorry, to the land, who came to the land to walk amongst the peoples once a year to see how they were living and how they were treating one another. And we are treating one another very well as we have yet another donation to Doctors Without Borders. Thank you again so very much. There's one more step closer to our next benchmark of $1,000 as we head towards our ultimate goal this weekend of 2,500. We appreciate your generosity and your kindness as we hope to help those who help others. And the Star Caller, as people referred to this legend, this hero of the past, brought blessings with them. They always seem to appear in one of the different star forests first. And Hybo was one of those cities, rumored to have had the Star Caller appear more than once. Not many saw them more than once. But legend has it that Hybo was visited once every 15 years on the same day that the Star Caller would come to the land. And that is what you believe the statue to be. And the reason that the moons are rotating above is because that day is marked when both moons are full in the season of spring. It is the only time in the season of spring that both moons are full. And tonight is one of those.
Just about to friggin' ask.
which is why the celebration is happening. As you look around and you're thinking of this, Vikos, you notice that the constellations that are painted on the buildings are a variety of them. You don't recognize all of them, but you do notice one of them is a bit larger than the others. And as you stare at it, you realize it is referenced the once were deity called the Watcher, who many believe is the deity the Starcaller is the avatar of.
Hmm. I recount a bit of this. I recount the story actually to our little crew here and say, so I ask, out of curiosity, do you think it is fair to be judged on your behavior once every 15 years? Do you think that is an accurate way of assessing one's character?
Sorry, where are you going with this?
I would like to see what you think.
Did you just really ask a question? Ask another question in response to another question.
I would like to see what you think. Do you think it is fair to be judged on your behavior based on one day of your life? Do you think one day can define a person?
The answer to where he's going is somewhere. You might as well just answer the question.
Do you want me to go for a sec? I mean, Robin's whole answer is, "Who cares? This place is really cool, and I'm just enjoying this festival." But, having said that, no, I don't think it's fair.
And a follow-up question. Then why do people celebrate that? Why do people celebrate being judged on what may be the worst day of an otherwise good life?
I think there's something to be said about faith and beliefs and the unknown. I know a little bit about that. She kind of scratches the back of her head.
Tell me.
Tell you what, I got nothing to tell you.
Tell me about faith.
Well, sometimes it surprises you.
Hmm.
It's unexpected. You don't quite know when it's going to leap out at you and suddenly become relevant in your life. Maybe you're staring down the face of certain danger or standing on the bridge of a ship. But yeah, faith has an interesting way of jumping out at you.
What do you think, Sam?
I think if you know what day the worst day of your life is going to be upon, maybe you should change the day.
I'm sure a lot of people would like to know that.
Assume that's what the large celebration is about. It's very loud.
Isn't it enjoyable being out of your comfort zone?
Nope.
Robin will kind of dance a bit and she'll kind of enjoy the music and, just enjoy the moment. She doesn't really care if the other people are having fun or not. She's having too much fun by herself.
Sam has found like a barrel, I think, and is sitting on it off to the side and watching whatever it is that is buzzing around his head, buzz around his head constantly with earplugs in.
Love it. And has Lawin completely tuned out Vicus and found something else to do at this point? Or
Yeah, pretty much. He's actually been focusing more on the music and just studying the people and their expressions.
the people seem to be completely embracing the day. They, at least by tradition, find joy in this day. If it is as Vicus described to you, it is a day of celebration, a day of blessings. People greet one another with smiles and generosity and gifts and another donation to Doctors Without Borders. Thank you so much. You all are wonderful. And we find ourselves kind of, I don't know, feeling a little tingle of something. The captain's dancing, unknown to everyone else, a tingling of thoughts urging you forward to embrace the joy of the music, to embrace the dance that you've embarked on. Something urging you to continue and taking joy in your joy.
And no one else can hear this because Robin's muttering it to herself. She'd be like, God damn it, no, stop, no, oh, can't you just let me have fun? God damn it.
At that point, the very softest sound as a whisper in your ear says, I do so enjoy you having fun. I'm sorry that I imposed. I hope I didn't ruin it.
Robin actually turns around as because she's almost expecting someone there, and realizes there's no one there, pretends it's a twirl and twirls around a little bit more, and is like, that was awfully kind of you. No, you didn't impose. I guess I'll carry on dancing. And now she feels really awkward about being grumpy. And she will carry on dancing.
And the music plays. And we see our four wonderful conduits as they sit amongst the joy of another celebration in Highbow. And there is a sense that is bothering Sam. I don't know why, Sam, but you are getting extremely uncomfortable sitting there, much more than normal. It's not the sound. There's something inside you. It's inciting some form of panic.
It's the dual nature of an introvert being played by an extrovert. On a serious note, what is it? What is that? What kind of panic and what kind of feeling, I think? Is it?
Of loss, of separation.
I'm going to sort of try and tune into that feeling and see if I can figure out what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And how do I do that?
Mm-hmm. How are you going to do that?
Seems like I think it's like a spiritual thing, almost kind of like just a reaching out to the unseen to see what that is. Not necessarily on purpose, but
okay. So go ahead and draw 2 cards for me to bring your hand to 4.
Cool.
And I'm assuming you're tapping into clubs. And are you using the aptitude of spiritual as well?
I would be if I had any of them.
Or are you going to tap into that emotion of panic through hearts?
I think it'll be the emotion of panic because I've got diamonds and hearts right now. So we'll go with the hearts. Yeah.
Excellent. And what's your rank in spiritual?
It is whatever rank 4 is.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay, so it's a base 12 plus 7.
Yeah.
Did you have, was that one that you had alignment affinity? Is it actually a 13 out of 12?
I had no, my alignment affinity is diamonds.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
not your affinity suit for your character, but one of the ones that got the bonus +1 for character creation.
For spiritual, yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be a base 13. So you hit a 20. There is a panicked voice of Celise in your head saying, "Don't let them take me."
Okay. So Sam kicks off the barrel and like bulldozes his way into the crowd to find Robin. And I think probably in a way that isn't stupendously helpful to finding Robin, but like, or for Robin noticing this is happening necessarily, but there's like a bunch of like indignant, like, what the heck? And how dare? And the nerve from like the crowd as Sam just bumps as Sam just rudely bumps into everyone on the way. And then like stops a bit for sees Robin coming, steps slightly off to the side so that Robin will pass, and then sort of tugs on Robin's clothes as they go by.
What are you doing?
Your ship is getting stolen.
What? And will immediately be like, what? Oh my god. Okay. We need to run. And we'll just bolt.
Yeah. Sam lets Robin go forward like a linebacker and follows in the wake because it took effort for Sam to do it the first time.
Drafting in the wake of the captain.
Yeah, pretty much. We're just initial de-drifting behind Robin. Like,
I would assume that Laman and Vicus actually see her bolt. Like she's making it pretty obvious. And considering there was already one person disrupting the dance, I think we've pretty much disrupted quite a bit of it.
Oops.
Yeah, so Lowen will actually bolt, will actually just, on instinct, just follow in a sprint. And then as they're running, he's going to say, well, this is a fine way to ingratiate yourself with the locals.
Yeah, probably not the best impression, but if they're stealing my ship, I really don't care.
How do you know your ship is being stolen?
Sam said so.
And he just gives this sort of expression as he's keeping up beside her. It's an expression of the space case. Sam is the one who told you this, and you're just going on his word.
You see Robin like skitter to a stop for a sec, really consider that, and be like, I thought he meant he actually saw it happening. I don't know. But anyways, I need to check on my ship and we'll just keep running.
It's like I think it seems like everyone probably crashes to a stop at that point for a second. And so Robin says, I thought he meant he thought he saw it, but I have to check, and it runs off. And then Sam like looks after and goes, obviously I didn't see it. We're nowhere near it. I heard it. And then keeps going.
Oracle. Would you consider this scene the end of a certain phase of the captain's life?
Yes, it absolutely is. The beginning of the end. Not the end, but the beginning of the end.
Perhaps the end of the beginning?
Oh, no, that comes later.
At any rate, I would like to make a pull with subtle.
Okay.
To just, for some reason, not be in the scene. And I have aptitude in subtle, so it's 9 plus 11.
Pretty obvious reason he's an old guy and don't run so fast.
Shots fired. Shots fired, dude.
Is that aligned with your guide as well? Is that what the
Yes.
first question was? Okay.
This is with guides, I believe.
Excellent. And then is that also connected to, I forget Vicus's affinity suit. I apologize.
My affinity suit for the center prophecy one, right?
Yeah.
That's hearts.
Okay. So that's still a 21 total. Yeah, Vicus is nowhere to be seen at this point for the rest of the group. The chatty one has not only gone silent, but has gone invisible.
Robin doesn't notice. Too busy chasing for a
Yeah,
ship.
pretty sure.
Good.
For an emergency, it feels kind of quiet right now.
You all rush across the bridges of Highbow, back toward the market and the port. And you see the number of moored ships there and the West Wind frigate, otherwise known as Salice to Sam, disembarking. The bridge, the rope bridge to it, beginning to fall from the edge of the platform. What do you do?
She's ridiculous enough to try and make the jump. Oh.
Excellent.
Yep, she is. Yep, she is.
Looks
Is
at
anyone
Shane.
following? Is anyone
Bold
following the
daredevil, it
captain's
says
lead?
right there.
So Lawan sees this, and instead, as he's running, he manages to spy some rope
Mhm.
that happens to be laying around, and he's going to snatch up an end of it and tie it to his knife
Mhm.
as he's sprinting, and then he's going to use that and throw that at the railing or the banister of
Excellent.
the ship in a way to
Nice.
basically use it as a makeshift grappling hook to pull himself onto the ship.
Love it.
Do I need to pull cards to see if I live or die?
Oh, absolutely.
All
So
cards to fall to your
everyone
death.
who's making a move to get on this ship, save Vicus. Tell me what. So Sam, are you trying to get to Salice as well?
Sam is absolutely not jumping, rope climbing, or anything of the sort. Sam is not a particularly athletic boy.
But
what's-
Salice is being stolen.
Salice is being stolen, but what Sam is going to do instead is going to whisper to Salice, actually as he's running. So if anyone's paying attention, Sam reaches up, sort of plucks the thing that is spiraling around in his around his head out of the air, and sort of holds it up to his mouth for a second, and sort of lets go, and it sort of buzzes off in the direction of Salice. And Sam is going to try to impart an idea of I think the way Sam sees it is that ships talk in images and emotions more than they talk in words.
Yes.
So Sam sort of pictures how far is it from the dock at this moment?
When you guys, if you reach the edge of the platform, the rope bridge will just start to be falling
Gotcha.
away.
So
As cinematic as we can possibly make it.
Beautiful. So Sam sort of looks at the rope bridge, and I think sort of sees it starting to fall, but sees where it's hooked on, and then sort of sends the idea via whatever the heck this thing is to Salice of just stall, and so just kind of stutter, stop, restart, just to give it an extra spare moment of time to enable them to get on the deck.
Okay. And so each of you has an action that you're going to be taking. We will go in order of how they were declared. So Captain, give me your leap. How are you leaping? What aptitude are you leveraging in order to make that leap? So pull 2 cards, draw 2 cards from the deck by mousing over the deck on the right-hand side to add them to your hand.
Okay.
And then what aptitude would you like to leverage to leap out And I'm assuming you're leaping for the rope bridge.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
For some reason, I'm thinking dynamo.
Okay, excellent. And this is a physical action, I'm guessing. So you're looking for diamonds, right?
Okay, yep.
So what is your base rating for dynamo?
I have an aptitude in that for bonds, so I'm assuming that means it's
At least good.
yeah.
Okay,
I don't quite recall what that means.
that's fine. So that's
Okay.
a 9. That's a base 9 or
Okay.
rank 3.
And I'm looking for diamonds.
Mhm.
Yay! I have 10 of diamonds.
Excellent. So that'll give you. And then what is your affinity suit?
That is spades.
Spades. Excellent. So 19 is still, it breaches the difficult task mark, which is really what we're looking for at this point. So that 18 is really the target number we want to see. And it reaches that incomplete success. So you launch yourself toward the rope bridge. And there is a little bit of a stutter that seems to occur. And you can grab on as you reach out with one hand and kind of it's not the most graceful, but you definitely have a firm grip. I don't know if you care about how many style points you get.
No, she does not. She just wants her ship, so it's fine.
Now, Lawin. Please, Leona, discard one of the 3 remaining that you do not wish to keep.
Sure.
And so I can recall those and shuffle them in. Oh. And then, Lawin, go ahead and draw 2 to bring your hand to 4.
Okay.
And what aptitude are you looking to do or leverage here to make this happen?
Also dynamo.
Okay. And are you planning on like mental accuracy of this or physical prowess? Like, how are you going about making sure that you can hit your mark?
He is going to use mostly is a good aim, I guess.
Okay. So if you want to go with aiming like that, the mental kind of focus and stuff that goes with that, that would be spades. If you're looking to will it into existence with more of like a natural talent, that would be clubs. If it's the physical steadiness, the physical prowess, that would be diamonds.
Yeah, so this is muscle memory, in my opinion. So
Okay.
that would be physical prowess.
Okay.
Going to play the 8 of diamonds.
Excellent. And what rank is your dynamo at?
It is 3, but I have the bonus or the affinity bonus for that. So it's actually a base rating of 10.
Excellent. And then what is your character's affinity suit? What suit are you aligned to as a conduit of prophecy?
Diamonds.
Your first card, diamonds. So you have another +2 on top of that. Excellent. So it's a 20. And yes, it flies out from your hand and it wraps around the railing and it clunks and clatters a little bit, but it slips right into place as the ship kind of pulled for some reason back toward you. So a knot was tied. And you have successfully attached your rope to the railing.
Cool. So he's going to actually swing on that rope using the his sprinting and forward momentum to sort of carry him, and he's going to I think what he's going to try to do is he's going to try to grab the hanging robin in his swing, and then he's going to sort of run along the hull of the ship with the momentum so that he can basically fling both of them onto the deck as opposed to just trying to hang on for dear life.
Love it.
Very dashing, yes.
That's awesome.
Would you
So cool.
like to apply a second check, or you want to build off that original 20 that you've played?
I'm going to build off that original 20 because
Okay.
this is literally turning actions into results.
Mhm. So as both of you are kind of applying dynamo in this way, Robin, you reach out and you grab that rope bridge, and you get a good grip as Lawin seems to also swing over and pull you along with him as the momentum carries the two of you just on the other side of the railing.
As soon as Robin's on the other side, she probably, I'm assuming, falls to the ground, looks at Lawin and is like, thank you, and immediately like stands up and turns so that she can see what's going on her ship.
Excellent. Anino, if you don't mind, discard one of the three that you do not wish to keep in your hand. And let's see what Sam was doing while all this was happening. Which card are you going to, or which aptitude are you going to apply there, Sam?
I'm going to apply, I think, okay, so actually, mechanics question, because I have now gotten confused. If I declare an aptitude I'm using, and then play a card of a different suit, I can use this, it's a combination of the two and not just the first one, or how
the aptitude, the affinity alignment from character creation does not apply in game. That is simply a mechanic only for character creation.
Okay, cool.
So none of these aptitudes are aligned to a suit. How you apply them is based on each suit is aligned to a different aspect of yourself. Diamonds are aligned to your physical self. Spades are aligned to your intellectual or mental self. Hearts are aligned to your emotional self, and clubs are aligned to your spiritual self. So depending on which part of yourself you're using, you would play that suit with that aptitude, and you'd add those numbers together.
Okay, so it's based off of the gotcha. Okay, I got
it.
Yep. Cool. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Omens Rising. Learning the game.
Learning the game.
Learning the game.
If you haven't noticed, this is the first time any of my players have actually played the gameplay mechanics. They've all been a part of character creation and our session 0 mechanics, but not actually the in-game play. Yeah, so this is new for all of us, including you. So draw
I'm
2 cards.
Spiritual, I think, is what we're gonna do.
Okay.
I'm gonna draw 2 cards first. That's how we play this game.
Yep. Draw 2 to bring your hand up to 4.
All right.
And choose which card, like what part of yourself. Are you tapping into that spiritual aspect of yourself? Are you playing clubs? Are you pulling on that emotion that the ship is already kind of, expressing?
Yeah, I think I'm going to play into the emotion of it and like try to almost, because I believe, if I'm correct, hearts corresponds to bonds.
Well, it corresponds. Yes, it corresponds to bonds as well. Yes.
I'm going to try to use the bond that we've had because it knows me and I know it. To try and convince it that we are trying to help, and anything that it can do to do that for us will enable us to help it better. So we're going to do that. We'll drop a jack on the field.
Excellent. So what we have there, and your spiritual again was a 4, so that is a great. That's 12 plus 11 from the jack, and your affinity suit again was
diamonds.
Gotcha. So that puts you at a 23, and we're inches away from, well, not inches, we're nearing almost a full success, but it is definitely a solid or complete success, a flawless success. Instead, we have a success, and it tilts actually the ship a little bit, and that's how the other 2 made it over the railing, is that it listed just slightly back toward the dock. And you'll notice that as Robin is left and pulled off the rope walkway, bridge. That's the word I was looking for. The rope bridge. It swings out toward you, just flailing in your direction as it kind of circles. It's making a wide circle back toward the ship.
If it is looking at a thing where I could get across it without falling to my death, Sam will absolutely take it, because that looks like that is a cry for help in physicality, as far as he is concerned.
Mhm.
So
You believe if you run across it that the ship will not let you fall.
Yeah, that sounds like Sam. Sam will do that. Yep. Yeah.
Excellent. So as the rope bridge sort of just swings out for no reason in a wide circle as the ship lists back toward the dock, Sam hops onto that and just runs across it as it's swinging back toward the side of the hull, and is able to lift himself over the railing as it slaps against the hull and falls limp, hanging down toward the forest floor, and the ship lifts and heads north toward the bluff herd. On the ship, we find Captain Robin, Lawin, Sam. There seem to be a number of others on here, and they all bear some sort of familiarity to you, Robin. They all seem to work for, you remember them, they were in the warehouse of the person who hired you. It seems that they have been hired to cut you out once you acquired whatever it was you were sent for.
Rude.
Very rude. Robin is having none of this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think what her best option would be. I think she is going to go as quickly as she can in the direction of the bridge, and she's going to try and take over steering the ship again and bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
And so that at least once it's back in its dock, she can then beat the shit out of everyone else and then can come off the boat.
Excellent. So the captain makes a beeline toward the wheel. What does Lawin do?
Lawin is going to basically, when he landed, he was rolling, and he's going to roll back onto his feet, and then he's going to get a bearing of his senses and see how many people are actually on the ship right now, and see where they are in relation to where the captain is running.
Okay. So as you kind of scan, you'll notice that there are about 6 there. 2 of them had unmoored the ship, and they're kind of at the bow and the stern, because that's the last place that they'd unhooked. They kind of started at the middle and worked their way around. One is at the wheel. Another seems to be at the bow, like standing on the bow with a spyglass, as though looking for something out there. And then the other, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the other 2 are opening some of the crates to check their contents and then storing them in the hull below.
Okay, so are any of them within intercepting distance of Robin?
No, actually. The closest would be the one that was at the stern looking to like unmoor the ship. If they ran back, they could maybe collide with Robin. But it would take an intentional effort, and they would have to notice what had just happened.
Okay. Is Loa near any of the cargo?
There's a crate near you.
Okay. So Lowen is going to basically break into the crate with a strike of his hands and take a piece of fruit in each of the hands. And he's going to twist in the air and heave the fruit at the two guys that are running and unmooring the ship.
Okay. Excellent. Sam, what is Sam doing?
Overwhelmed, I think.
Okay. No, that's
but,
perfectly fine.
I think so. We've got sort of people running to more of the ship. We have someone trying to steer it, from what I understand correctly. Sam, I think, is going to place a hand on the railing, sort of his heart pounding in his own chest, because fast movement is not a thing he's particularly used to. And also because things about hearts that and is going to try to, because now that he's on Sleaze, he can, I think, communicate with it a lot better.
Yep.
And is going to try and ask it to list again, but abruptly and roughly, in a way that'll sort of knock the person who's trying to get to the steering off balance, and maybe it'll make them stumble and fall.
Okay.
And is not, no, I'm not that much of an asshole, and is going to shout like a very vague grab onto something warning to Lawin and Robin, as opposed to just doing it and not telling anybody. Which he might absolutely
As you do.
Which he might absolutely do anyways, honestly. Yeah. That is what Sam's going to do.
Excellent. So at this point, we're going to make a little bit of a cinematic move. As we have Lawin launching fruit, one of which collides right smack in the forehead of the one at the stern. And as the ship lists hard and the one at the wheel works to try and correct, that one at the pirate, we'll call them for now, the mutineer at the rear, falls over the railing toward the forest floor. We find the ship Sleaze veering north, speed increasing, control being lost quickly. The two that were going into the hull thudded somewhere down there. You're not sure exactly what happened, but they were carrying crates. The one at the bow, the two at the bow, both held on. The spyglass of the one rolling down the floor back toward the stern, as Sleaze bucks like a wild stallion trying to be tamed. We find the captain at the helm, fighting for control, as the ship eventually loses against the winds that blow. And it careens toward the bluffs. All goes black as the crash is heard and echoes through the canyons. And we find our four amongst the wreckage of Sleaze in the bluff herd. The mutineers are nowhere to be seen, or if they are, they're no longer breathing. They didn't survive the crash. But for one reason or another, each one of you found yourselves cradled by the last breath of the ship upon impact.
Can I make a draw to show up at this exact point?
Oh my god.
You don't have to draw for that.
Can I make a
Vicus.
draw to yeet Vicus off the wreckage of the ship?
Vicus, you see, is standing at the bow, looking at the spyglass. And for whatever reason, Vicus seems to just feel compelled to hand it over to Lawin. There's a thought running through your head, Vicus, to follow Lawin wherever the spyglass takes him. And the only thing that thought tells you to say is, find the way home, please.
Find the way home.
I'm not kidding. Can I pull a pulse and yeet Vikas off the wreckage of the ship?
Now I must ask.
I'm legitimately like,
Sam has seen Vikas show up, having accomplished literally nothing in the last 10 minutes, and is like, and it's just like touches the end of the hull of whatever he's standing on, and is like, I know that you didn't deserve this, and he contributed nothing. Can you do one spiteful thing for me? I just want a floorboard to smack him in the foot or something.
I will let that happen.
Absolutely, you can find a way to make a floorboard as he hands over the spyglass to Lawin. Whether or not Lawin chooses to take it from his hand before his words are uttered and this floorboard pops up in his face, dazing Vikas just slightly. What does Lawin do?
Beautiful.
So Lawin actually dodges the falling or the flipping spyglass, and he's just going to watch it flip and sail onto Captain Robin, wherever she is.
Okay.
Roll, funk.
Dunk.
Destiny.
Oh, I'm so mad at all of you. Did I tell you guys in our session 0 about the spyglass thing?
No.
No.
Oh,
No. I have. This is new. This is new.
this is what I mean. This game, I swear to goodness, does the most uncanny shit ever.
I think
That
that's
is-
the point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
the entire point. But I mean, I'm just saying.
Of prophecy and omens.
Yes. Robin will kind of sit up, quite stunned, feels something kind of thunk against her leg, sees that it's a spyglass, and picks it up. She's quite stunned for a minute. You kind of see her look around. She's quite speechless. And for some reason, as she holds this spyglass and it kind of warms in her hands, she holds it up and she takes a look through it. Does she see anything, Oracle?
Not at this moment, but she does hear something.
Oh, interesting. She'll look up and kind of look around, and she's not quite sure what she's hearing. So she'll stand up and kind of dust herself off and kind of see if she can find whatever it is that she's hearing.
Robin sees nothing, but the words echo in your head. The scout will lead you home.
The scout will lead me home.
You just see Lawin standing there with his hands up still, having dodged the responsibility and weight of the spyglass, and he just says, "Got it."
To this,
good.
Vikas, with a nasty bruise on his cheek that he seems to not acknowledge at all, says, "So I must ask, if the avatar of the Watcher were to come and witness you now, having not seen you for 15 years, what would they think of your character? Of where you're going next?"
Can Robin also throw something at Vikas?
There seems to be one of the star tier pears near your feet.
She will chuck that in his direction and be like, "Where the hell were you?"
Can I make a pull to catch the pear in my hand?
Yeah, you can.
I'm gonna roll with poised.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna actually draw 2, then
Yep.
draw poised. Yes, I
I forget, is poise one that you have at a rank 3?
yes, I have
So-
rank 3 poised.
Gotcha. So that's a 23. Yeah, it just bing, plucks it out of the air like it's nothing.
I figured you didn't need me. And I was correct.
I don't know what makes you say that. I don't think this looks like I didn't need you. My entire shipment is wrecked by the very people that I was supposed to be purchasing this for. I'm out money and I'm out of a ship. And apparently I have a bunch of star tier fruits that I have pears that I have nothing to do with now. Other than revenge.
I don't know if there's a bunch, but there's at least 3 crates that are salvageable.
3 crates worth of throwing it.
And a whole lot of
Sam,
star tier pear jam.
Yeah, Sam rolls over after muttering that and starts looking around for like the little cup he carries with him all the time because he's just had it with this today.
As Sam's looking around, the little model ship that you built is buzzing around your head.
What? And Sam's like, yeah. Sam's like, what?
It then takes off and buzzes around Lawin. And then buzzes back to you. It keeps enough distance, though, that Lawin can't actually hit it. It seems to be a little intimidated by Lawin.
Arkle, you handed me the name Blaze, right? You handed me the name Blaze when referring to Lawin, right?
No, I said, please.
Okay.
Find our way home. Not Blaze, please.
Okay.
The impression you got is that politeness and formality is important to Lawin.
Hey. So yes, you may be short a ship and some funding, but it seems that now, instead of finding a place to run from, you have a place to go to.
Yeah, place to go get some revenge.
We'll hit you with another floorboard, I swear to God. Still looking for, like, finds the cup, brushes the dust. It's a little dented. He'll fix it later. Sort of like tilts it out and like chunks of little bits of like Solis fall out, and he's a little saddened by that.
Oh.
But like brusts the splinters off and then sort of turns to Lon and goes, so what's your deal? And then points to what is now obviously not like an insect, like a tiny model ship that has been flying around his head and buzzing around his head, and goes, this one seems to not like you necessarily, but like have an interest in you, and that's weird.
He's just going to shrug and say, I'm just Lawin. And then he'll look mysteriously off into the
sun as the Twin Moons is like Star Wars plays in the background. This like there's like so you get that wonderful shot of Lawin staring off the Twin Moons as like the Star Wars music rises, and there's a record scratch, and then Sam is just like, nobody's ever just somebody.
So at that point, I think that this is a lovely place to segue.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I'm going to just lean into that, John. And the sun has not set yet, but you know how when there is a full moon and a very bright one, you can see it sometimes through the daylight. The twin moons are visible to you, though you can't see all of the sky because of the bluffs around you. Whether or not you've been to the bluff herd before, it is a bit intimidating here on the floor, not knowing where you are. Lawin stares off in a direction that he felt compelled to look. Vicus is being Vicus. Robin is arguing with herself, or so it seems, and Sam is a little despondent and distraught about the destruction of Solis. And we find our 4 conduits of prophecy, our heroes of a legacy yet to be told, on their way to a very grand story. One that we hope to bring to all of you on New to the Party sometime in the future. I want to thank all of my players for trusting me enough to work through this and see how the system itself plays. If you haven't noticed, Omens Rising is a game that uses cards and not dice. It is a narrative-heavy and rules-light system built to tell stories. It's heavily influenced by things like JRPGs, similar to Final Fantasy, Suikoden, a variety of different animes that tap into the magitech and wonder of the world. The characters are built by using fortunes told through the cards, which is what they were referring to. The origin card, the guides card, the bonds card. These were all bits of their stories that they were letting out. And we will find them on the winds of Aether as they take flight again sometime. I would like to ask my players, how did you enjoy this unknown experience and how we kind of together navigated what it might look like to run a group session?
So good.
What do you want me to say? That was awesome.
So good.
Sam's an asshole, and I'm not apologizing.
Vikas is even more of a blowhard than I imagined, and I love it.
Excellent.
I like how like that's the one, like that character is the one that's like, oh, is this the leave everybody for dead talent? Oh, I absolutely want that. And it's like great, thanks. Oh, that's great. That's normally what I play. So I enjoyed it. It was fantastically fun to actually sort of get to see the system play out and do it with a bunch of people who are awesome and who I trust a lot, which is great. So y'all are fantastic.
Thank you. I really like the aptitude system.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you. It's something that I spent a lot of time digging into, trying to figure out how to make it come to life. So if you all didn't notice in chat, the aptitudes are not narrow skills like something like stealth or marksmanship or firearms. They are aptitudes. They are skills or abilities that people have. They're based off of the concept of our strengths, what we're good at, but not in the narrow sense of a particular thing, but in the broader sense of a larger ability. Gallup, the Gallup group out of Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, they do a bunch of research and they have this thing called Strengths Finder. The VIA Institute has something similar that they put out. The concept, though, is that we have these areas of influence that we interact with the world with. And it depends on the context as to how we use them, whether we apply them through like the mechanics of cartomancy, physically, intellectually, emotionally, or through something much more unseen, something spiritual. That's why they get to choose how are they applying it. So in other systems, you might have to tie your skill to a specific attribute. Here, you choose how you're applying your aptitude. What else did you enjoy? Or where was something that we can work on next as a group?
How to play game guide. Is like once I got it, it made sense. I just hadn't like really read how to actually play the thing. Once I got it, it made a lot of sense. But
and I didn't show you that because I wanted to see what it would look like. Because how many players have you run games for, did not read any of the rules before session one?
Rules?
Exactly.
Reading them?
So I didn't want us to be over prepared. I wanted all of that awkward learning on the fly to see what we could actually make work. So thank you for letting me surprise you with that stuff. I really appreciate the trust.
It's a lot more like simple, intuitive than I expected up front.
Yep.
Like I was expecting like it to matter what suit the card was, but if it doesn't, it just makes things a lot easier to just like, okay, I can just pick the big number. There's a little bit of strategy involved in it of like,
Yeah.
you know, like what
As long
card
as
do
you
I
can
throw?
apply it to that element of yourself that you're using, you
Yeah.
can pick the big number.
Yeah.
But you have to have that I like to call it divergent thinking out of that narrow silo of I'm going to physically do this thing because it's always physical to no, I'm going to aim with my keen, attention to detail rather than with my or in this case, Anino leveraged muscle memory, which was physical instead of that keen attention to detail. That's what Anino leaned into for Lawin. But it's choosing, instead of seeing it as one way only, choosing what way applies best to your character and the circumstances they're in.
It's very good.
Yeah, I had a very like Gunslinger's Creed moment when you were talking about aiming, and I was like, yeah, hell yeah, aiming. I do not aim with my hand, I aim with my mind. Moment like I'm like, oh yeah, that's really cool. Actually, I could just do that. Like that's awesome.
And some people just seem to will things to happen. That would be something that'd be more like clubs. It's instinctual. It's not something they think about. It's something that just happens.
Yeah, I had so much fun.
Excellent. Well, what else do you have for me? Or what else would you like to tell the people in chat about the direction of Omens Rising from your perspective? Don't let me be the only one that sells it. And in the last 5
Playtesting
minutes
is happening.
Yes.
Shout
And
out to
you're gonna-
Chris.
you're gonna want to get in on it.
It's incredibly good.
If you're into tarot or you've always been curious about things like cartomancy and tarot and like fortune telling kind of things, this game has a real tendency to bring up uncanny connections
Yup.
and things that you are just like, how is that a coincidence? And that
How
happens
does
a
that
lot.
work?
A lot. That whole spyglass thing, they didn't know, but they gave me the spyglass, and that was my character's big thing. So yeah, it totally happens. So definitely, if you're curious and you want to know more, hop in on some of our playtesting. And new to the party is Welcome to the Party sister channel. So you can find us at New Party RPG, I believe. So definitely check out Welcome to the Party at Welcome Party RPG, and you can follow our sister channel, and you can keep up with when we're gonna do this amazing show because I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, I just want to point out that so none of us in this group have actually the players have actually played a game together. This was thrown together pretty last second, so I kind of just want to highlight that as kind of a selling point of Welcome to the Party, and that the community is actively built to encourage and foster inclusivity. And so the fact that, all of us being people of color coming together in a very haphazard way to work both on this game and to play together in such a way that, I've had long-term campaigns where characters didn't have this kind of chemistry after 12 sessions. And the fact that this is basically the first time we're playing a completely brand new system and first time we're playing together, I think that kind of speaks volumes as to how flexible and how much you can make out of this game if you're not thinking in terms of specifically game mechanics, but more along the lines of narrative storytelling.
Like even in session 0, the way it was organized, like everything about the mechanics, like everything about drawing a card, it's a prompt to tell an interesting story or tell an interesting scene. Like word association matters a lot. Drawing connections matters a lot. Like the whole thing where Vikas disappears for no good reason is pulled out of his character sheet, and it's like it's the kind of thing where you're expected to draw those connections. You're expected to kind of intuit what other people's connections are and like have that all play together. It doesn't really matter if a thing succeeds. Like success and failure isn't the point. It's how do you do it? What does it look like? How does it connect you to the world, to the players? Also, the world building is like, I really like how it's coming together. It's very cool. It has some very interesting ideas about how to structure a world, and how to consider a world, especially one that's rebuilding. Like that's very good to me. I like that.
I also want to add this game doesn't start at session 1 or at the playtest or at the session 0. It starts at character creation.
Very much
Um,
so.
Very much so. It is a game where the magic starts right from character creation. And that was, I think, the thing that blew me away the most was I spent my entire character creation session and it felt like a game to me, but it also felt like the most magical, emergent thing that was just kind of springing forth from these cards. It's incredibly cool and very hard to explain, and you have to experience it for yourself.
Like for Vikos, like this is the second character I made. The first one I made in the playtest session with Chris. This and then the second one I was like, I can't find the old character, so I'll just make one on my own. And in like 1 hour, I got a very in-depth character sheet of like each card added to the narrative of this dude who like ends up being the mentor to multiple chosen ones
Mhm.
and like brings those people together and brings out the greatness in those people. Like the whole thing with like bring us home please, that's what Vikas does.
Yeah.
He brings that destiny to others, and then at the moment of truth he's just not there.
I believe the words we used were big scumbag Merlin energy.
Yes, dirtbag Merlin. He is dirtbag Merlin.
Yeah.
So
But,
on
like,
that note,
I was
which is
able
a
to cook that up in an
beautiful
hour.
note, we do need to kind of wrap up here as we are nearing our end of our time. I want to thank you all for again playing this with me live without any sort of real prep outside of a session 0 that we slammed together on Thursday based on scheduling. And I want to thank the audience for all of your attention and the donations. We got a number of donations throughout the course of this 2 hours, and we are very grateful for each one of them. We love the fact that you have this spirit of generosity in a time which can be kind of scary right now. So thank you. I also want to give you guys a shout out, or give the vendors a shout out over in the virtual vendor hall. Please go check them out and see if there's anything there that you would really enjoy. But last but not least, what I would like to leave you all with is a slight description, collaboratively written by myself and John, about what Omens Rising really is. The realm of Omens Rising recovers from the brink of collapse amidst the shattered ruins of once were nations and sovereignties. Present-day civilizations rise from the throes of survival as the aether storms that once ravaged the world subside. No longer at the mercy of impending destruction, the current generation begins to seek a purpose beyond the simple survival their forebears sought, a purpose with meaning. As the storms subside, the echoes of the once were world find ascending resonance within the conduits, each of these player characters you see. Individuals chosen by the will of the Aether, each conduit born of prophecy and intention, defines a future path as definite as it is extraordinary. Omens Rising centers an accessible form of cartomancy divination as its main mechanic. As a player, you will collaboratively divine your character with your oracle or game master, drawing cards and answering questions asked of you to develop a character uniquely woven with the threads of fate, or plot, I guess we suppose, ushering them along or aside of their prophesied path. At its core, Omens Rising uses its character-driven, rules-light system to tell stories of exploration that exalt the human desire for belonging, autonomy, and purpose. Thank you all for your time today and your generosity. May you have a wonderful weekend.